Let's turn to the high point of our consumerism. Let me take a drink. It's still some of it Starbucks coffee. I'm regularly drinking it, I must admit it. But are we aware that when we buy a cappuccino from Starbucks, we also buy quite a lot of ideology? Which ideology? You know, when you enter a Starbucks store, it's usually always displayed in some posters their message, which is, yes, our cappuccino is more expensive than others, but, and then comes the story, we give 1% of all our income to some Guatemala children to keep them healthy, for the water supply for some Sahara farmers, or to save the forests, to enable organic growing on coffee, whatever. Now, I admire the ingenuity of this solution. In the old days of pure, simple consumerism, you bought a product and then you felt bad. My God, I'm just a consumerist while people are starving in Africa. So the idea was you had to do something to counteract your pure destructive consumerism. For example, I don't know, you contribute to charity and so on. What Starbucks enables you is to be a consumerist and be a consumerist without any bad conscience, because the price for the countermeasure for fighting consumerism is already included into the price of a commodity. Like, you pay a little bit more and you are not just a consumerist, but you do also your duty towards environment, the poor, starving people in Africa, and so on and so on. It's, I think, the ultimate form of consumerism.
Damn! Slavoj Žižek chat. Genius. And as one of the things that's really good about this is Starbucks is getting fucking owned because their union busting is failing. And not only is their union busting failing, it's also bad PR. A lot of the people, like, think about Starbucks. Starbucks is traditionally thought of as like a hippy dippy liberal. Ooh, you want your pink drink? You want your latte? You want your frappuccino? It's commoditization. It's the consumption of the Starbucks commodity is associated with libs, because that's the only way that Americans can conceive of their identity is through what commodities they consume. So Starbucks being seen as the anti-worker, anti-progressive management, that's bad for business.
In less than a year, Starbucks' anti-union campaign has taken the company from this...
The stock's a buy.
It's a buy.
Yes, it is.
To
the... Inverse Jim Cramer. Inverse Jim... Whatever Jim Cramer says to do with your business. Whatever Jim Cramer says. Okay, so where was Starbucks when he said stock was a buy? 112. What's Starbucks at now? 73. Oh my God. If you listen to Jim Cramer, you're down what, 35%? Holy, and that's just from January 1. Man, if you invested in if you got involved in stocks at the beginning of this year, you got absolutely fucking smoked. It's gonna take half a decade to catch up. If you bought in right at the beginning of this year, woo-wee, you got smoked. You're as down bad as an Amaranth viewer? What? You mean if you bought stock? I was like, wait, what? Finance is so crazy. You can literally anything, and there will be someone else saying the exact opposite, and both will be seen as smart and good. That's the entire point, because they don't do anything. The hedge fund guys and all these other people, they're fucking stupid. They don't provide any value. It's a casino. When the stock market was going up for 8 straight years, just buying stocks broadly was going to make you money. It didn't take a genius. They're just parasites. That's why they charge fees. Because if they could actually make money investing, they would just do that. But they can't. There's a really good scene from Wolf of Wall Street. Matthew McConaughey. This may be one of the best clips of all time. Explaining what this is.
Number one rule of Wall Street. Nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers. So if you got a client who bought stock at 8 and it now sits at 16 and he's all fucking happy, he wants to cash in, liquidate, take his fucking money and run home, you don't let him do that because that would make it real.
Right.
He thinks he's getting shit rich, which he is on paper. But you and me, the brokers, we're taking home cold hard cash via commission, motherfucker.
Right.
One of the reasons why this is so valid is because you guys know about Bernie Madoff, right? Bernie Madoff, who had that gigantic Ponzi scheme for like 3 decades. His son was on the he was on the board of one of the stock exchanges. No one found out that he was scamming and they didn't have money. Because they were all rich dipshits, addicted, and so they never tried to withdraw. So he had this gigantic Ponzi scheme because no one was withdrawing their money. The only reason it fell apart was not because somebody figured it out. It's not because of any other reason, but because of the 2008 crash. And then a bunch of people went like, well, the stock market's going to be going down. I don't care how smart Bernie is. I'm going to take my money out and put it into cash. That's when he got caught. Was it because somebody was like, these returns are not realistic or, he's promising 10, 15% every year. No, it's because, and by the way, that's why. Matthew McConaughey's character is 100% right, with how the wealthy class operate and how Wall Street operates. This is how it works. And if you look at what these advisors actually do with their own money, they buy index funds. They buy federal bonds. They buy munis. They buy the low risk shit. They buy the stuff with no fees, and it just follows the market. And that does better than any active manager. Now, there's going to be an active manager that any given year gets lucky. And you can't get rich from one stock. I'm not trying to say you can't. But as a whole, if you look at the entire market and all investors, and you get rid of your own main character syndrome and recognize that you're just one guy or gal or non-binary pal, on average, you're going to do way better with no fee, index funds, etc. These managers are fucking useless. In fact, Warren Buffett had a huge bet. Warren Buffett had a huge bet against a guy named Tom Sides. $1 million. He said, I bet you $1 million. You pick the best hedge funds. I'm going to buy an index fund and I'll do better than your hedge funds. And Warren Buffett won. Ted Sides famously lost $1 million bet with Warren Buffett that a basket of hedge funds would outperform the S&P 500 index over the course of a decade. The former hedge fund investor Sides, who hosts the Capital Outcares podcast, previously invested in hedge funds at Protege Partners, a so-called fund of funds. For his bet with Buffett, he selected a track the performance of 5 funds, invested in more than 100 hedge funds in total, while the Berkshire Hathaway chief backed Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. So even Warren Buffett, the most sophisticated investor in the fucking history of the planet, says, don't buy hedge funds. Buy a Vanguard index fund. These guys are scammers. That's all they fucking do. Now, if you have insider information like a stock, like Congress people do, actively trading makes sense.
Revolutions. You follow?
Revolutions.
Keep the clients on the Ferris wheel. And it goes. The park is open 24/7, 365. Every decade, every goddamn century. That's it. Name of the game. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
one problem with Wolf of Wall Street is so many people saw that and was like, wow, that's cool. That's one of the problems of Scorsese is when he makes movies about these dummies. When he makes movies about these dummies, people are like, wow, that's cool. I want to be a gangster now. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yes, it is.
To this.
Honey, we've got a venti-sized buzzkill for you.
Starbucks stock down about 25% since the first union vote took place.
I think they're a couple quarters of pain ahead.
Starbucks down 23% in just 3 months as coffee prices surge and their labor woes increase.
Now that Starbucks has kind of lost its way.
And that's a big problem for people like this.
My name is Jonas Krohn, and I'm Chief Advocacy Officer here at Trillium Asset Management. We're a $5 billion asset management firm in its 40th year, and we are clearly interested in the financial success of Starbucks, as our clients and funds hold about $53 million worth of shares. So in the last 10 months, Trillium has been actively pressing Starbucks to respect worker rights to organize.
Vente grande, mocha double, union busters! You've got trouble!
But they say the company is not making it easy on them.
We've had a lot of intimidation and a lot of efforts to stop us, but we're here.
Companies throughout the country being assaulted in many ways by the threat of unionization.
From a bottom line point of view, we are very concerned about Starbucks behavior.
Assault him, chat. Assault him. Let us assault him. Just stab him. Metaphorically, chat. Metaphorically, not with an actual knife, but the unionization knife.
Behavior over the last few months in response to worker organizing efforts. Conduct that the National Labor Relations Board has concluded violates federal labor laws. We are particularly concerned about Starbucks management's behavior at a time that the public support
Give him the
for the right
sharpened
to
file,
organize
chat.
is at
That's right.
record high levels.
As of June 2nd, there are 177 unfair labor practice cases open against Starbucks.
Starbucks' financial success depends in part on the strength of its reputation, and it should not put that reputation in jeopardy with behavior that the NLRB regards as union busting. Customers can easily go elsewhere, as the competition is virtually everywhere.
Customers have a choice, so I think the company should work very hard to make sure that it keeps its reputation as a people-positive company, and I think that should include really be a good partner to its partners.
So that's the... Now we got these lib fucking investors. Yeah! Yes! Let them be useful idiots for us.
I believe a neutral approach to unions would not only be completely consistent with its financial success and its reputation as a socially responsible company, but actually strengthen the company on a number of levels, social and financial.
Shares in Starbucks have dropped 34% since January 2022.
More than that.
Around the world, freedom of association is recognized as a human right. Workers have the right to organize and collectively bargain under the OECD guidelines, the UN guiding principles, and the ILO conventions. Happily, Starbucks refers to and affirms its commitment to these norms. But it must live up to those commitments, to put meaning behind those words, to genuinely respect worker rights. These human rights are critically important to investors like Trillium. Hearing from the workers who are putting their livelihoods on the line has shown us that they care about the kind of company Starbucks is and can be. And at a time where Starbucks needs to retain skilled and enthusiastic employees, it is a perfect time for them to pivot away from its unfortunate history of opposing unions and to show the social leadership it has been known for decades. It is a real opportunity.
Leftists don't get useful idiots, too busy trying to be the most left. You're thinking of lifestyleists, okay? There's a lot of people for which their political views is an expression of their identity, which is everyone, of course. But for some people, they've got to be the most left-wing, the most anarchist, the most communist, the most blah, 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 blah. I don't give a shit! I don't care whether you think I'm the most leftist or not. Now, I have certain standards that I think leftists should follow, like supporting unions or supporting Bernie Sanders in an American context of electoralism. But am I going to run around going, I'm more left than you? No, of course not. Now, that is to say, many people think that, oh, if a person just calls themselves left-wing, then you shouldn't criticize them because then you're being a wrecker. I criticize people who do stuff like, for example, support Israeli apartheid or refuse to support a $20 minimum wage. If like many people are like, wow, to go from 7 to 20 would be a big boost. Yeah, if we had been raising the minimum wage all along, it wouldn't be such a big fucking boost. Now would it? Biden just gave Fetterman some praise at the AFL-CIO, said they had a Zoom call today that Fetterman is looking big and healthy. Oh? Link me that.
Opportunity for Starbucks to authentically stand up for its mission, quote, to inspire and nurture the human spirit. It is an opportunity.
I have to say that John Fetterman is probably the best politician of this cycle by far. I think Summer Lee is really exciting for those of us on the left, but I would say that John Fetterman is the best politician. So obviously, I'm a big fan of Summer, but I see John Fetterman as completely just handling every attack and actually unifying the Democratic Party. And just doing it in such an effective way. I don't know what to say. I think that he is by far the best politician. He's getting praise from all sides. That's pretty impressive, man. Now, is he going to win? I don't know. At $7 a gallon gas, call out culture, we might have to read this. I probably going to disagree with large sections of this, but we'll get to it.
To prosper that is good for the company, the employees that make it all happen every day, shareholders, and for the society it is a part of.
Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.